This review is late, but I don't care, so I'm just going to plough into it. So, Barbara Barbara, We Face a Shining Future, is the new album by Underworld. And Underworld are a dance music group who have quite the legacy. They started off as a very bland synth pop group, but during the rise of rave music, they brought in DJ Darren Emerson and completely changed their sound, becoming one of the most popular dance groups, well, ever. And becoming a rarity in dance music, a critical darling, being nominated for 2 Mercury Prizes and getting countless other accolades. And probably along with The Prodigy, they're held very highly amongst other artists from the 90s. But after their 5th record, Baku Fish, Darren Emerson left, and the group have they haven't been anywhere near as consistent as they were. The 2 founding members, Rick Smith and Carl Hyde, have gone on to do some pretty big projects, including being the music directors and creating music for the opening ceremony for the 2012 Olympics in London, which was directed by Danny Boyle, and they've worked with Danny Boyle several times on the soundtrack to Trainspotting and Sunshine and countless other films that he's done. And they also did the score for his production of Frankenstein, starring Johnny Lee Miller and Benedict Cumberbatch, swapping roles each night, playing the monster in the... Yeah. One of the defining elements of Underworld were the fact that they were very progressive, and there was something artistic about them. It wasn't just empty dance music. You know, you could listen to it outside the context of the club, which is something that is far more prevalent now, but back then it wasn't necessarily. It was really Underworld, The Prodigy, and maybe Left Field as well. One of the things that really set them apart from everyone else was Carl Hyde's delivery and his just really bizarre ramblings, because his lyricism is unlike anyone else you've ever heard before. It's incredibly scattershot, it's incredibly random, and at times you wonder whether there is any thematic link between one line or another. However, I think that maybe there is, maybe there isn't. In some songs you can kind of see that there is a clear thematic link, but in others it's very fractured. You know, I think that's intentional, because Carl Hyde in the past has done some very abstract lyrics. Carl Hyde in the past has said that the lyrics aren't necessarily important, and it's just something that he doesn't really think about. So, I don't know. But there are some which, to me, feel like they have meaning. And basically, since the release of the last Underworld album, and indeed the last project that they worked on together, they've done different things. Rick Smith did the score to Danny Boyle's film Trance, and Carl Hyde did a solo record, and he also did 2 collaboration albums in the same year with Brian Eno. And now, 6 years after their previous record, Barking, we now have a new Underworld record. And the past few records have been a little wishy-washy for me. You know, they didn't have a really defining element which sounded like Underworld, especially their last record, which just felt like so many different producers were working on it, and that was indeed the case. It didn't feel like a wholly Underworld record. There was so much interference from other parties that it at times just became really bogged down, and it didn't sound particularly great. But with this record, I feel like there's a slight change here. So the first track on the album, I Exhale, was the first track that was teased for this album. And when I first heard it, I didn't particularly like it, because I thought that it was really repetitive and just went absolutely nowhere for 8 minutes. And my opinion on it hasn't really changed. It's something that you never got from Underworld in the past, because all of the songs went somewhere. They progressed. They had a natural evolution throughout the whole track. Whereas this, it just stagnates and it just lumbers along like an awkward dinosaur. And, you know, that's not what I want in an Underworld track. It's really not. And after I heard this, I was just really hoping that the rest of it would be an improvement. And I have to say, I am glad that it is. The second track, If Ra, is far more progressive and far more like old Underworld, and it wouldn't be out of place on the Beaucoup Fish album. I prefer the lyrics here too. Like with most of Carl Hyde's songs, it's just a word collage, but they always sound great. I absolutely love the build-up. It feels like a classic progressive house track that you typically find from Underworld. I adore the piano sequence and the refrain, Luna, 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 Luna. And then when the piano part is played on guitar and builds up to this awesome house beat, glun, 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 glun. It's just fantastic. So then we have Slow Burn, which is a far more orchestral piece, and it's an absolutely gorgeous bit of dance music. The synths, which sound like a nylon strung guitar that comes in, are just really lovely. The whole song is just very cinematic, especially with the synth pad that keeps coming back. It creates an image of two people coming together after years of mutual unrequited love in a nightclub, whilst, you know, the strobes rain over them. It's a really fantastic song. Next up is Santiago Cuatro, which begins with a finger-plucked melody on a Spanish guitar, which kind of sounds a little Middle Eastern, but then it starts to naturally progress into this kind of folk melody, and it kind of weaves in and out between these two styles. It's just a really sweet composition. Then there's Motorhome, which is a very bleep bloop a track, and a quintessentially Underworld title, that, Motorhome. They really like taking in like kitchen sink sort of themes, and that, you know, that's one of the things that I like about Underworld. They don't try to be anything other than British. Here we have a very conventional lyrical arrangement from Carl Hyde, for a change, as he repeats on the refrain, "What don't lift you drags you down, keep away from the dark side." And then it turns into this kind of Baba O'Reilly inspired sort of melody by The Who, with this stylophone-esque sound. And like Slow Burn, as the title suggests, this is a very slow burner. And it ends in a very anthemic, sing-song manner, similar to Oasis's Champagne Supernova. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide. Now, the penultimate track, Ova Nova. I don't know if it's Ova Nova or Ova Nova, but I'm going to go with Ova Nova because it sounds a little more East London. It has a great groove with this fantastic pumping bass, and the track has this wonderful crescendo that goes into this fantastic beat that transitions into this really nice bleeping synth, similar to the previous track. The song is just a really nice dance track, and, you know, I don't really have anything more to say about it, to be honest. A lot of these tracks, there's not that much to dissect, but what I hear is really, really great. And then the final track, Nylon Strung, which is funny, as I've mentioned with the track Slow Burn, that it had a nylon strung guitar-esque sort of sound to it. It's kind of here as well, and I really like that. I think this track may be my favourite on the record, really. I mean, the beat on this song is absolutely gorgeous, and the refrain is incredibly infectious. Open me up, I wanna hold you, laughing. Would you carry me? I really like how it sounds. The melody played on the synth sounds like vintage Underworld, but kind of at the same time, it sounds like something that Coldplay would be doing at the moment, but not mediocre. You know, it's hard to explain. If the music Coldplay were making at the moment was good, that's how this sounds. The arrangement for the song is just really glorious, and the whole album is great, really fantastic. As I said before, lately Underworld's music has been a bit patchy, and I haven't really enjoyed a release of theirs since Beaucoup Fish. However, I think this is a real step in the right direction. Despite the shortcomings of the first song, this is a really rewarding listen. And it's a shame that there are only 7 tracks, but I'm just glad that Underworld are releasing anything at all, as they always seem to have something worthwhile to display on their records, even if there are a few duds on there. But yeah, I think this is probably their best work since Beaucoup Fish, and yeah, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. And if you enjoyed it yourself, then share your experience of the record with me, because I want to hear what all of you think. And even if you didn't enjoy it, let me know what you think. And if you've not heard of Underworld before, then please listen to this album, because it's really good. And also check out their previous work, Dub No Bass with My Headman, fucking dance music classic, and you need to listen to that. New videos coming soon.